Hey friends, today let's talk about why a positive attitude is important in the workplace. Manisha and her team really hoped that their boss would not come to office today. Just wished that he was traveling to a client's location. His attitude was so negative about everything that it rubbed onto everyone in the office. Manisha would count every minute of the day, wishing it to go faster so that she could rush off from the office and get rid of the boss at least for that day. The boss would closely monitor everything the team did, breathing down their necks, asking them to work faster and keep pointing out the mistakes. He watched the clock to check that everyone's lunch hour was exactly 1 hour long. He was quick to seize on the negative and seldom, if ever, handed out praises. Manisha and her team resented their boss's mistrust on them. As a result, they stopped making decisions for themselves. Instead, they just asked him what he wanted when a decision had to be made. They stopped taking responsibility for what they were doing, and this served only to reinforce the boss's belief that his people weren't capable of working on their own. We as professionals must understand the impact that our attitudes and behaviors have on the attitudes and behaviors of the people around us. When we are feeling negative, we can be impatient, we get angry, we might even yell or argue, and we can demotivate people. As these behaviors affect the people around us, they direct those negative behaviors back on us and also others around them. And the work environment simply gets worse. When we are feeling motivated and positive, we smile, we compliment our team, and we empower those around us. This makes them feel positive and they pass on their positivity to people around them, thus creating a positive and empowering climate in the workplace. How to break out of a negative attitude? Remember that your attitude, good or bad, affects everyone around you. The next time you are in a negative mood, stop what you are doing. Take a few minutes to assess why you are feeling so negative. Negativity often begins with an insignificant event and just gets worse from there. Consciously decide to break out of the cycle by focusing on something positive. Let's go through a situation together. Imagine that is just after lunch, you have just received an escalation from a client. Just then, your team member who handles the account enters your office smiling. Since you are feeling frustrated because of this escalation, you yell at your team member. As you sit at your desk angry, you realize that your anger will not find the solution and will continue to demotivate your team members. After thinking about this, you decide to exit the cycle. You begin by offering your team member a genuine apology. You offer to work with your team member to resolve the escalation. The discussion is productive and meaningful communication takes place. Immediately, action is taken and the issue is resolved simply because you were willing to step out of your negative thinking and step out of the destructive cycle. We can also explain this scientifically. It's called the law of sowing and reaping, which says, whatever you sow, also shall you reap. Sir Isaac Newton called it the law of action and reaction. For every action, there is an equal and an opposite reaction. The first foundation of positive attitude is self-confidence. Self-confidence is vital in almost every aspect of our lives, yet many people struggle to find it. Sadly, this can become a vicious cycle. People who lack self-confidence are less likely to achieve success, which in turn makes them even more less confident. Confident people inspire confidence in others, their audiences, their co-workers, their bosses, their customers, and their friends. And gaining the confidence of others is one of the key ways to succeed. Let me humbly share with you some ways to become self-confident. Firstly, reviewing past achievements. Your self-confidence can increase when you are able to say, I can do this, and here's the evidence. As part of your personal SWOT analysis, you need to identify things you are good at based on your past achievements. List the 10 things you are most proud of in an achievement log. Perhaps you came top in an important test or exam, played a key role in an important team or project, or did something kind that made a positive difference in someone else's life. Secondly, create your positive affirmations. Review these achievements and use them to make positive affirmations about what you can do. These affirmations can be particularly powerful if you tend to undermine your own confidence with negative self-talk. Let's say your self-confidence is low because of a negative self-talk, such as, I wish I could stick up for myself at work. In every meeting, I let the others walk over my ideas. I'm never going to get ahead. You can change this to a positive affirmation, such as, I speak confidently at meetings, acknowledge other point of views, and state my point of view with reason and implications. The third way of improving your self-confidence is to work on improving your skills. If you have difficulty maintaining confidence because of things you feel you can't do, it makes sense to improve your skill. Carry out your personal SWOT analysis to identify your strengths and weaknesses. Then draw up an action plan to work on the areas where you are not so strong. So use these three methodologies and you will find your self-confidence soaring. The second foundation for building a positive attitude is motivating self and others. So what if you want to grow professionally, but you are finding it difficult to get yourself going? Identify what demotivates you and tackle it. The first step in building motivation is to identify what demotivates you and then tackle the problem head on. Mohan wasn't happy. He had just been promoted to lead a product development team in a different department of the engineering company at which he worked. He felt that he had been promoted because of his expertise and the quality of his work, and he was very proud that he had been chosen. However, he felt profoundly uncomfortable in his new role. He was confused about what was expected from him. He had had little experience of managing people before, and he felt out of his depth in dealing with people issues he was now expected to handle. Fortunately, Mohan had a discussion with his manager. During the discussion, it all became clear what he needed was training in the basic managerial skills and also help in learning and applying them. His boss put a persuasive case for a particular training course, and he also made sure that he got regular coaching on the issues he faced, which helped Mohan put the theory he had learned into practice. Now he was ready to face his new responsibilities. To learn how to motivate yourself and your team members, it is essential for us to build a positive attitude and for your own personal growth. To know more about how to build self-confidence, motivate yourself and others, and about the amazing Professional Growth Club, which will catalyze your growth and help you surpass your potential, click on the link below. See you soon on the other side, the side of growth and professional success. Thank you.